The old folks called it Blackwood Manor, a place of whispers and shadows. It was said to appear and disappear, shrouded in mist and mystery. Some dismissed it as a local legend, a figment of imagination. But I knew better. I had seen the photographs, faded and eerie, depicting a Victorian mansion swallowed by the woods. I felt the pull of the unknown, the allure of the unexplained. I was determined to find Blackwood Manor. My journey began on a crisp autumn morning. The air was thick with the scent of decaying leaves, and the silence was broken only by the crunch of my footsteps. I followed the worn map, a relic passed down from a long-forgotten explorer. The path was treacherous, overgrown with thorny bushes and littered with fallen branches, but I pressed on, my heart pounding with a mixture of fear and anticipation. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows through the trees, I stumbled upon a clearing, and there it was, Blackwood Manor. The sight of it sent shivers down my spine. It was just as the photographs had depicted, a towering structure of crumbling stone, its windows like vacant eyes staring out into the gathering darkness. A cold wind swept through the clearing, carrying with it the faintest whisper of my name. It was an invitation, I knew, a beckoning from the shadows. I took a deep breath and stepped across the threshold into the unknown. The air grew heavy as I approached the manor. The forest pressed close, the trees gnarled and twisted as if in pain. There was no sign of the clearing, no indication of how I had arrived. It was as if the forest itself had conspired to deliver me to this desolate place. Then, with a sound like a gasp, the manor materialized. One moment there was nothing but tangled undergrowth. The next, the imposing structure loomed before me. Its stone facade was weathered and cracked, a testament to years of neglect and decay. Vines thick as pythons snaked their way up the walls, their leaves rustling in a silent breeze. Fear, cold and sharp, pricked at the edges of my courage. My every instinct screamed at me to turn back, to flee from this place of palpable unease. But curiosity, an insatiable beast, urged me forward. I'd come too far to turn back now. I had to see what secrets Blackwood Manor held. The oak door creaked open as if inviting me in. The sound echoed through the stillness, a lonely groan that seemed to reverberate deep within the house itself. Taking a deep breath, I stepped across the threshold. The smell of damp earth and decay washed over me, thick and cloying. The air inside was strangely still, heavy with a silence that felt almost expectant. It was as if the house itself were holding its breath, waiting. Dust motes danced in the faint slivers of light that pierced the gloom of the manor's entrance hall. Cobwebs, thick and grey, clung to every surface. The air was heavy with the weight of ages, the silence broken only by the sound of my own heartbeat echoing in my ears. I moved cautiously, my hand trailing along the cold, damp stone wall. The wallpaper, once vibrant, was now a canvas of peeling paint and faded grandeur. As I ventured deeper into the manor, I noticed a peculiar shift in the atmosphere. The air grew colder, the silence more profound. The layout of the house seemed to twist and turn upon itself, defying logic and reason. Rooms that should have been there were gone, replaced by blank walls or corridors that led to nowhere. I felt a growing sense of disorientation, a feeling of being watched by unseen eyes. In the parlor, I discovered a gramophone coated in dust. Curiosity compelled me to wind it up and place the needle on the cracked record. A haunting melody filled the air, a waltz both beautiful and melancholic. As the music swirled around me, I noticed a photograph on the mantelpiece. It depicted a family, their faces blurred and indistinct, their eyes seeming to follow my every move. As I reached out to touch the photograph, the music stopped abruptly. The room plunged into an unsettling silence, and then I heard it, a soft whisper, barely audible, coming from the shadows in the corner of the room. "Turn back, while you still can." My heart pounded in my chest, a frantic drumbeat against my ribs. The whisper, though faint, sent a chill down my spine. Fear threatened to consume me, but I pushed it down, reminding myself that fear was a liar, a deceiver. I would not be deterred. I had come too far to turn back now. In the library, I discovered a dusty journal, its leather cover brittle with age. The pages, filled with elegant script, spoke of a family torn apart by grief, their lives shattered by an unspeakable tragedy. The words seemed to leap off the page, painting a vivid picture of the horrors that had unfolded within the manor's walls. The journal spoke of a hidden room, a secret chamber where the family had sought refuge from the darkness that haunted them. It spoke of a malevolent force, an entity that fed on their despair and drove them to madness. And it spoke of a key hidden somewhere within the manor that could unlock the secrets of the past. The manor seemed to close in around me, the walls pressing against me like the weight of the secrets they held. I could feel the presence of the past, the echoes of laughter and screams mingling in the air. I knew then that Blackwood Manor was more than just a haunted house. It was a prison, a cage for lost souls, and I was trapped within its grasp. Panic swelled in my chest, a suffocating wave of fear. The air grew thick with a palpable sense of dread. The shadows in the corners of the room seemed to writhe and twist, taking on menacing forms. The whispers grew louder, circling me, taunting me with my impending doom. I stumbled back, my hand reaching for the wall to steady myself, but the wall was gone, replaced by an endless void that stretched out before me like a gaping maw. I cried out, my voice echoing through the empty halls, but there was no answer, only the sound of my own terror. The floor beneath my feet began to crumble, giving way to an abyss of swirling darkness. I reached out, desperate for something, anything to hold on to, but there was nothing. I was falling, plummeting into the heart of the manor's darkness. As I fell, I saw flashes of images, glimpses into the past. I saw the family, their faces contorted in terror, their eyes wide with unspeakable horror. I saw the entity, a swirling mass of shadows and malice, its laughter echoing through the void. Then, as suddenly as it began, the fall ended. I landed hard on the cold, unforgiving ground, the impact knocking the breath from my lungs. I lay there for a moment, gasping for air, my body trembling with fear and adrenaline. When I finally managed to sit up, I found myself back in the clearing. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across the overgrown grass. Blackwood Manor was gone, vanished without a trace. I stumbled to my feet, my mind reeling from the experience. Was it all real, or had I simply imagined the horrors I had witnessed? I didn't know. All I knew was that I had to get away from that place. As I turned to leave, I noticed something lying on the ground. It was the photograph I had seen in the manor, the one of the family. But now their faces were clear, their eyes fixed on me with an expression of pleading terror. And beneath the photograph, scrawled in a spidery hand, was a single, chilling message. "You are next." The words hung in the air, a spectral echo of the horrors I had witnessed. I stumbled back, my blood turning to ice. Blackwood Manor may have vanished, but its darkness lingered, a haunting reminder of the secrets that lie hidden in the shadows.